Welcome to this explainer on Robin Sharma's transformational book, The 5 a.m. Club. Today we're going to unpack exactly how controlling your very first hour of the day unlocks, well, legendary success. I mean, if you've ever felt completely overwhelmed by endless notifications, totally distracted from your actual goals, or just kind of stuck in a rut of mediocrity, you are in exactly the right place. So get ready, because we're about to completely rethink how you start your day.
We begin with this incredibly powerful mantra that basically serves as the ultimate thesis for our whole exploration today. Own your morning, elevate your life. It sounds super simple, right? But as you're going to see, the actual execution of this idea is exactly what separates those who are just barely surviving from those who are truly thriving and, literally, making history.
Okay, so let's dive right into this fascinating source material. What's so cool about it is how it brilliantly blends highly actionable self-help with this incredibly engaging fictional fable. So instead of just reading a dry list of habits, the book introduces us to a cast of characters who actually walk us through a journey of profound personal transformation. Honestly, by following their story, the whole methodology becomes so much more relatable and memorable.
So let's jump right into Section 1, The Modern Dilemma. Our story actually kicks off by introducing us to two proxies for modern burnout, and they're both attending this sprawling personal optimization conference. They are desperately searching for answers in a world that just feels increasingly chaotic and demanding. Now, notice how their specific struggles contrast here. On one side, we have the entrepreneur. She is a titan of her industry, but she's completely overwhelmed, facing this highly hostile, jealousy-fueled takeover of her own company, and she's hopelessly addicted to her technology. Then on the other side is the artist. This guy has massive potential, but he's endlessly frustrated. He's wrestling with his own personal demons and constantly self-sabotaging his path to greatness. I mean, both of them perfectly represent that deep exhaustion so many of us feel today, right?
Which brings us right into Section 2, Philosophy of the Legendary.
So both of our characters are at this conference to hear a deeply revered 80-year-old guru known simply as the Spellbinder. His teachings offer a radical cure for their modern malaise, and it's mapped out right here. The Spellbinder warns the audience against becoming what he calls cyber zombies. You know, people suffering from digital dementia, endlessly scrolling, totally addicted to distraction. He also points out that society is just plagued by people with a victim mentality. He calls them drama mamas, who'd rather complain than create. He urges us instead to choose the path of the history maker, because the legendary, they choose monomaniacal focus, early rising, and the pursuit of true virtuosity over just chasing artificial, trivial amusements.
The Spellbinder reminds his captivated audience that hardship is actually the price of greatness. As this quote perfectly sums up, world class begins where your comfort zone ends. You really have to push past what is easy. But, just as he is delivering this impassioned plea for humanity to step into its light, the unimaginable happens. The aging Spellbinder begins to cough violently, stumbles, and dramatically collapses right there on the stage, leaving the entire audience in absolute shock.
And that shocking moment leads us straight into Section 3, An Unlikely Mentor.
In the chaotic aftermath of the guru's collapse, as the auditorium is emptying out, our duo is unexpectedly interrupted by this scruffy stranger. He looks completely homeless, but he's sporting a massive $100,000 luxury watch. Makes no sense, right? Well, this unlikely mentor, who later reveals he is actually a wildly successful billionaire in disguise, starts sharing these completely contrarian insights. He even unbuttons his shirt to reveal this exact motto literally tattooed on his back: victims love entertainment, victors adore education. He explains that he built his immense fortune and his phenomenal life by strictly following the teachings of the Spellbinder. It's all about focusing on relentless self-improvement while the rest of the world just distracts itself.
And this mindset builds directly into his framework for personal mastery. I want you to think about your own life for a second. Most of us really only focus on our mindset, right? But to truly achieve elite performance and lasting joy, you have to optimize what he calls the 4 sets. So this means cultivating your mindset, yes, absolutely, but also your Heartset, which is your emotional well-being, your Healthset, your physical vitality, and your Soulset, your connection to your deeper purpose. As he puts it, you simply can't have an A-level life with C-level internal foundations.
To really drive this point home, the billionaire pulls out a thick piece of paper and shows them a sketch just like this one, an angel and a crown. He uses it to remind them of the completely uncorrupted primal powers we all actually possessed as children, way before the world told us to just fit in and be ordinary. He insists, absolutely insists, that there is a hero inside every single one of us just waiting to be reawakened. So, how exactly do we awaken that inner hero?
Well, let's uncover that right now in Section 4, the 5 a.m. solution.
During their incredibly eye-opening conversation, the artist actually plays an illicit audio recording he managed to make of the spellbinder's speech right before the collapse. The audio reveals that installing a world-class routine at exactly 5 a.m. is the ultimate shield against the digital distraction that is ruining so many minds today. It's literally like a Spartan guarding his mind. Those quiet, uninterrupted first hours, way before the sun comes up and the world starts demanding your attention, that is exactly when heroes are made.
As the quote right here reminds us, winning really does start at your beginning. The Spellbinder's audio stresses that this 5 a.m. regimen is literally the mother of all routines. Why? Well, because conquering those first hours sets a powerful precedent of discipline, focus, and peace that just naturally cascades through the rest of your afternoon and evening. It's the ultimate shift from just being busy to being truly, deeply productive.
All right, let's move on to Section 5, the invitation to mastery.
Deeply moved by the recording and honestly desperate to change their current downward trajectories, the entrepreneur and artist are presented with a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. The disguised billionaire pulls out his wallet and hands them this simple plastic card with a hand-drawn sketch of dolphins on it. He formally invites them to travel on his private jet to his ocean compound, which is near a remote village called Solitude. Once they're there, he promises to personally mentor them and teach them the complete, comprehensive 5 a.m. methodology that made him a titan. All expenses paid, the whole shebang. The only catch? They have to meet him the very next morning at exactly 5 a.m.
Naturally, the entrepreneur and artist are a bit hesitant. I mean, is this guy crazy? Is it a scam? So to reassure their very valid doubts about this bizarre adventure, the billionaire hands them a heavily used, yellowed index card containing this really profound piece of advice about embracing personal transformation. Read it with me here. All change is hard at first, messy in the middle, and gorgeous at the end. It's such a great reminder that leaving your comfort zone is literally supposed to feel uncomfortable. If it wasn't hard, everyone would do it.
Faced with this massive choice, their decision process perfectly maps out into 3 distinct steps. First, despite all their skepticism, they both truly acknowledge the deep pain of their current situations, her crippling burnout and his constant self-sabotage. Second, they recognize that their old ways of operating are definitely no longer serving them. They need profound change. And finally, they decide to just go for it and take a huge leap of faith into the unknown. They agree to trust this eccentric mentor, and they end up arriving the next day at exactly 4:49 a.m. to begin their journey into morning mastery.
And that brings us to the end of this explainer, but I want to leave a final, provocative question directly for you. Just like the entrepreneur and the artist, you are being presented with an opportunity right now to elevate your life. So the question is, will you step out of your comfort zone, beat the digital distraction, and actually accept the invitation to join the 5 a.m. club? Remember, the choice to claim your greatness starts tomorrow morning. Thanks so much for joining us, and keep learning.